Hey guys, hey everyone. I'm just making a test to see if everything's working fine. This is the second test. So I would like to test. I guess everything is working just fine. So first of all, I'm very glad to be here today talking to you about a topic that have been doing research since my PhD. I remember in my PhD I participated from a conference in Portugal, which was artificial intelligence in medicine. And also I saw another conference which is I could not participate, but I saw that the topic as well was artificial intelligence in medicine. That was about 3 4 years ago. Since the artificial intelligence, the speed at which things happen very fast. As an example, right now I have been working with TensorFlow.js. In the TensorFlow.js, it may be about 3 years old, and has been already creating a very rich environment for research, more specifically research in website. And as I have been talking about several times, I have one paper on academia do. I have one course, I have one talk to discuss one science. I think that you should innovate with biomathematics. And the best way to innovate with biomathematics is artificial intelligence. The reason which I mentioned in my paper, my letter that I wrote to academia is that artificial intelligence is very close how the doctor think. So the way at which a doctor think is a very close to how artificial intelligence works. Artificial intelligence is all about examples. You have a set of examples, and the models should find the rule. Let me give you a very fast explanation how artificial intelligence works versus a kind of traditional model. Traditional model, they are based on code. So if you know how to code, you know that when you have a problem and you apply traditional techniques, you have to code everything. So it means that you have to put each line, each action, each movement of the model. So the model is unable to take decision by its own. On the other hand, artificial intelligence-based model, they find the rule, they find how to work. So you give them examples, you give them, if you're talking about supervised models, you have to mainly have one type as well, but mainly you have two types of models. You have the supervised artificial neural network, the unsupervised one. Deep learning is a supervised model. So deep learning is most of the model today is deep learning based. In my first postdoc, I saw some examples based on deep learning. So the case of example, you just give the example, just give the input and you give the example, such as if you want to make an image segmentation, you show the image and show how to segment the image. In the case of tumor, there's one example, my postdoc report, there's one example in which a model is able to separate a kind of tumor. There's a brain image, and the model is able to separate, the model is able to say that there is a tumor on a specific point. So that kind of problem that you have that have medicine, you have essentially everywhere. Even to make things better, to make things even more powerful, we have today the concept of transfer learning. Transfer learning means that you can train your model using a day-by-day example. Then you can use the model on a specific medical problem, such as one example during my postdoc. The people from the lab, they used a model that was trained on not object, that they used the same model using deep learning, deep learning, transfer learning. They retrained the model to make segmentation of teeth in your mouth, the teeth in your mouth. So it means that it doesn't matter which problem you have in medicine. It doesn't matter if you have data. In my PhD, one of the biggest bottleneck, one of the biggest difficulty of my PhD was the data. Most of the time, medicine data is very expensive. It's very hard for you to access the data, but you still need to train your model. When I was starting to work with artificial intelligence, I heard a lot that when you try to compare traditional mathematical models with artificial intelligence, the biggest way to attack the artificial intelligence model was that they need a huge amount of data, a huge data set. It's true, you need a huge data set, but now we have a transfer learning, which makes possible to apply deep learning even to a very simple, in the sense that they have not have too much of data, which is good in two senses. First of all, not need too much data. The second reason is that you don't need anymore very powerful computer to take hours and hours to train. I think it was a very clever and a very nice trick from the people from the artificial intelligence, because they killed two birds with a single stone. They killed the bird of computer power, which was a very it was a very big difficult problem, because not everyone has access to very powerful computers, just Google Cloud and so on. On the second hand, they have used the fact that medical data is very expensive to get. Some of them can be very rare. And for you to have like thousands of data of a patient, cannot, most likely that's not possible. So today we're going to talk about a topic that's very dear to me, a topic that I liked a lot, a topic that I have been worked since my PhD, maybe even before. And the reason why I have chosen Dr. House as a kind of thumbnail, that Dr. House as a theme of the life, is that, in my opinion, Dr. House, even though Dr. House is also, Dr. House is a very nice fictional character, Dr. House is the closest one to be replaced. If you see, there is a Netflix series called The Diagnose, in which the person that was behind Dr. House, behind the character Dr. House, she exists. She's a medical doctor, female medical doctor. And she essentially takes the case, she open to the internet, so everyone can give a kind of suggestion. So she's able, probably Dr. House is able to solve by his head in real life, in real situation. She solves the problem by opening up the problem. So everyone can, she opens up the problem in the internet. So everyone is able to say, like, maybe this is the problem. So artificial intelligence is like that. Artificial intelligence is a very powerful integration problem. So she's using as a human what artificial intelligence is able to do much better, which is, by the way, to integrate a huge amount of data set. So we might have, for example, in the future, we may have a kind of center diagnose, in which in real time you can know every procedure all over the world, and a bot, artificial intelligence-based bot, is able to mine this data, is able to integrate this data, and is able to find patterns, to find rules. Remember, artificial intelligence is all about finding rules. So we have a huge amount of data, and the model is able to find a kind of a formal rule, a kind of formal placement. So that's the most. There are several powerful features of artificial intelligence, but integration and the rules is the biggest one, because it's able to integrate in real time a huge amount of data set. It's able as well to find hidden rule that in general is very hard to find, but even by human has a limit in which they can find data. So I have prepared a couple of slides. You can leave me your comments. If you leave your comments, it will appear here on the screen. You can as well get in touch with me. On the lower part of the video, have my email, so you can let me know your thoughts, can let me know your suggestion. So I will share with you guys a couple of slides. Like, just give me a minute. I will share with you guys a couple of slides. So the question is, AI in medicine, when robots want to save lives. The reason why I have chose this title is because the media, the social thinking is about the Terminator, it's about robot killing humans, it's about artificial intelligence being used to destroy lives. But when it comes to artificial intelligence, it has been used on the opposite. It has been used by medical doctors all over the world. Of course, it's still an experiment. People are still trying to figure it out. For example, in the book of Daniel Kahneman, Noise, Daniel Kahneman, who won the Nobel Prize, he talks about the resistance to use models in medicine. Even though, as Daniel Kahneman brings to attention, even the simplest model using regression is able to do a better job than medical doctor in some situations, because the human judgment is very noisy, as he says. He published in his book that the human judgment is biased. Now he published on his book that the human judgment is noisy. So I think that's a very interesting book. If you want to read, it's a very easy to read book in which they have, as a matter of fact, the book is 3 off, if I remember well, but they have several cases of medicine in artificial intelligence. I mean, they decided to include the book, which I think was a very nice movement to include as well artificial intelligence models in general. So as he says on his book, in some cases you have very simple models that is able to give very good results. Even the case of image segmentation, the model that I have in my postdoc report, which you can find in academia I have used a very simple model. I have not used artificial intelligence. So in some cases you can get better segmentation even using simple models. So I think that artificial intelligence may be a kind of a card in my sleeve that can be used in some situation, but you do not need to be not need to be all about artificial intelligence. But that's the reason why in my book I have a book called Computational Thinking. That's the reason why in my book I have called Computational Thinking instead of artificial intelligence, because computational thinking is all about models. So if you have a simple model, if you have a complex model, if you have a model that is a very simple regression, as Daniel Kahneman brings to attention, or if you have a model that is very evolved, such as deep learning, it doesn't matter. As long as computer is able to do thinking, that to replicate human thinking patterns, I think that's all. That's the reason why I think you should call computational thinking instead of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence can give you the idea that you need the intelligence in every model, but intelligence can be mimicked, can be created with very simple models, such as a regression, as Daniel Kahneman brings to attention in his book. So that's my book. I mentioned, I totally recommend. I have some sections about medicine, because that's my background. I have a PhD in which I have worked with models. So I totally recommend the book. The book is mine, so I recommend it even more. So that's a reading suggestion. On the book, I have several sections. I use TensorFlow.js, which is artificial intelligence-based model. TensorFlow.js is free. It's a Google technology. You can use TensorFlow.js to implement on your web application. The TensorFlow, which is in Python with a base which is tradition. You do have a webinar here using TensorFlow for image segmentation by Leonardo Udo. But in this specific case, you can do the same. I mean, you can do the same as I understood. I have not tested, but you can do the same as well in TensorFlow.js. Which is a very powerful tool. So on this book, I explore a little bit the use of TensorFlow.js. So this line is not very big. I'm not planning here to stay with you. I'm not planning here to stay with you in a very long time. Maybe in the future I may come back again and they launch a course and may do something more detailed. But I'm going to be very brief with you in each section. I'm going to be very brief with you. I'm going to give a very brief introduction. I talk a bit about Dr. House. I'm going to talk about models. I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence, a little bit about the future. I don't have to be like bored. I'm not here. I'm not going to talk to you as academic. Here I'm just using this kind of format because I don't know. Models are getting closer and closer for replacing human. I mean, as Daniel Kahneman is bringing to attention his book, models may replace human in the future. I mean, as Daniel Kahneman says in his book, there's a big resistance. That's even like here on this channel in which I talked with Kolonsky, Alexei Kolonsky, who is a friend of mine, and he talks about his preferential model. So on the community of mathematical biology, we do have people that already know how powerful those models are. And then Alcântara did very well as well in his book. So it will be a matter of time. There is a very nice question from Professor Maggio. Professor Maggio asked me on my webinar to 31 Science, what about if a model make a mistake? What they're gonna do? So that's a very good question, which should the future ask this kind of question. How can you make the medical doctor use the model without being afraid of making mistake? Because even though it has already been proved that statistically speaking, the model make equal mistake, even less mistake than human. That's, you can find that in the book of Daniel Kahneman called Noise. The model can be as good as human or even better than human. So even though that's true, it's already proven scientifically, we still have a big resistance to use model. So how can you in the future maybe help medical doctors, biologists, and the healthy professionals to start to use without fear of making mistake. Maybe I think even though you may face a kind of ego, like professional ego, to use models, as happened in the past with several technology. For example, in the case I had a professor for Russia, my Master of Science in Poland, in which he didn't use computer. He said the computer was all wrong. Of course, it was his ego talking loudly. So how can you face the ego? There is no solution. But for the case of make they sure that they can use the model and not going to be punished by the mistake of the model, I think we should think about that seriously and make sure that the model can be used without people feel that they are unsure about using the models. So Dr. House is a very emblematic picture. I think everyone knows his series. I think it's amazing. I love Dr. House. Is Dr. House replaceable? I think Dr. House is replaceable. I think he's easiest to be replaced. The first sign is that Dr. House on the real world, as you can see on Netflix, there's a series called Diagnose. So Diagnose is the person that is behind Dr. House. She's a female doctor. So what she does is she put the case on the internet. So everyone can help to solve the case. So that's how artificial intelligence can do much better than human. Artificial intelligence is able to mine it's very fast data set that should be available publicly, also in a kind of center, in a computer center, in which the model can access all these cases in real time. So when you see if you see doctors thinking, how thinking, he starts to see the case, he starts to see the sign, he starts to make the symptom, he makes a lot of mistake, then he plays the mistake. So by the way, there is a new era in medicine called theranostic. Theranostic is you give the therapy, you make the diagnosis. So Dr. House is doing a kind of theranostics. He's doing a kind of error, trial and error. Of course, he's very smart in the series, but as you know, in the real world, Dr. House is a lot of people, as you can see on Netflix. He's not just one person, he's all over the world trying to solve the case. But what Dr. House is doing is beside what a model can do. For example, when you Google or any kind of ad, smart ad, show you an ad, and you click on the ad, the model learns that's a very good suggestion. But when you don't click on the ad, on the kind of suggestion, the model learns that's a very bad suggestion. So what artificial intelligence does is besides what Dr. House is doing, it's besides how medical doctor work. Of course, you cannot. I'm not claiming that you should replace medical doctors 100%. I claim that there are some activities, there are some jobs that you can easily replace by a machine. I'm not saying that every task. There is a documentary which I totally recommend called The Age of AI. In The Age of AI, there is a part about medicine and artificial intelligence. So the person, I think it was Abby. I forgot her name, but she has a very nice book. She said that artificial intelligence is going to make us be more creative because we don't have any more to spend a lot of energy trying to solve very, very mechanical problems. So you can leave the mechanical part to artificial intelligence. You can let so you can let you can allow the human to be creative. If you see, there's a proof called deep thinking of Kasparov. Kasparov, he was defeated by a computer. That's considered as a moment when artificial intelligence was able to beat him, even though that was not artificial intelligence. That was a very powerful computer that was able to build Kasparov in chess. But at that specific point, you can see that Kasparov was creative. He had a creativity that the computer could not have. So the human creativity, the same human creativity that created artificial intelligence is going to be very important in the future. I think creativity is the future. So that's the reason I think they should not be worried about that. They should be worried about how can best use artificial intelligence. It's already been used. I mean, people may not know this, but you already have computer everywhere. Most of them already have artificial intelligence. So people they are noticing something that's already here. It's already everywhere. I mean, artificial intelligence is everywhere, even already medicine, but people not are aware of that. They are on the water and asking what is water. So let me give you one example which I'm going to show you. Let me see if I can find it here. I think I separated it here. Let me show very fast here. Let me show. I mean, we do have we already have this on our channel. But let me give you one example here. We already have this on our channel. Let me give you one example. Just one example that we already have in our channel. So I want to show you this video here.
Relax, Cameron. I'm not gonna cut you. I just want to show what this puppy can do. It can make 1 millimeter incisions. You know how small that is? It's small even in metric. If I do something that doesn't make sense, even to you, stop me. Delicate, no? Does that hurt?
A considerable amount of simultaneously, you can see a considerable amount of so as you can see here, if you come here to this picture, you have a robot, which is a kind of mechanical robot with some movement robot. Then you have computer vision, which is the nice thing that this part is quite advanced. I mean, it's very, very advanced, the computer vision. I mean, sometimes it's amazing that you can already implement a very powerful computer vision for free on the internet. For the TensorFlow.js, you can have several examples. So the biggest challenge may be to make this communication here to be as precise as possible. But because in the case of medical doctors, different from other robots that can define, the precision is very important. It can be very precise. But as you can see, we are. I don't know how far that scene from Dr. House from reality, because that's a fiction. So I don't know how far. But if people say in Grey's Anatomy, they had to in Grey's Anatomy an example of a kind of implant on the brain that can remove a kind of mechanical arm. So it seemed that to be the Grey's Anatomy that was true. I have done a research to see if that scene of Grey's Anatomy is true. It seemed that true. So Dr. House saying, trust the metalhead, as he said. I think that you should in the future learn how to trust the metalhead. Computer may be replacing medical Dr. House. Computer may be replacing doctors. In diagnosis, which is the case of Dr. House, I think that even closer to be replaced. So you have a physical part, which is, as a matter of fact, quite advanced. Not as, my opinion, that's not as well advanced as computer vision, maybe because of the Moravec paradox. But it's all quite advanced, and I have seen some video. So that's called the Moravec paradox, in which we cannot say how. There are several interpretations of the Moravec paradox, but one of them I have found is that we cannot. What's easy for human is difficult for computer. What's difficult for computer is what is for computer is difficult for human. But there are other interpretations. But what can learn that is not very simple as you thought. You thought it would be very easy to create robots that act like human. But what a baby can do, for example, with computer vision. I mean, with vision, image segmentation, so on. It was very hard for us to make a computer vision, to make image segmentation. It's still very hard, because you still need very powerful computer to make what a baby, what a kid, what a child can do easily. So artificial intelligence is the area that in which the goal now is to get as close as possible to humans. So people are calling this artificial intelligence. That's a part of creativity. The part that Kasparov was able to show when he was defeated, and we still can show is a part of creativity. So human is able to create other things such as artificial intelligence. But what about human that can be as creative as human? It would be less mechanical, it would be more creative, more genius, and so on. That's a little bit about artificial general intelligence. So I mean, that's a graph that you can find here on the website. I found this graph interesting. They did a kind of a schematic showing that we expected that artificial intelligence would be easy to solve a huge amount of problem, but their reality was the opposite. Their reality showed that not no problem that you found that was easy to solve, it wasn't easy to solve, such as image segmentation. Even though we do have deep learning now, I think deep learning is like 5% of mistake. I think 5 or 3% of mistake on the image, which is a very low number. Like, it's incredible how fast deep learning was able to make image segmentation go. But still, that was very hard. It took years. Maybe it was about 30 years to solve this problem, or even more if you try to. But more or less, that's the time when you try to solve. But the point is that we don't know a considerable amount of problem on artificial intelligence that we thought would be easy to solve. It was not easy to solve. So that's the reason more or less they're trying to show here. So so some problems very hard for computer, very easy for humans. Some problems very hard for humans is very easy for computer. Chess is one example. I think even though if you try to play chess, you see that nowadays a computer can beat you easily in chess. In chess, is a problem that's very hard for him. Not everyone is good at chess. If you try to learn chess, there's a very people don't know how to play chess. Even the one that learn how to play chess, there's a very small number of people that really learn how to play. I myself tried. I didn't get very far away, I have to be honest. So the observation side support to the Moravec piece tells us that something for him won't necessarily be easy for computer. I mean, that's an interpretation of the Moravec's paradox. There are other interpretations as well. So I think it just tells us that I don't know what to expect. I think that's a very very interesting point. That is very little. I mean, you don't know. I mean, I myself was surprised. Recently, I saw on Twitter a robot that was built that is able to jump. He's able to make a lot of movement, like very difficult jumps. I thought that was very far away, but right here, I mean, people can make a robot that's able to jump and so on. Maybe it will be a matter of time which robot will be really around us. So trust the method. That's the message of Dr. House. Trust the method. It has to do with the fact that computer is already reliable. As Dr. Daniel Kahneman brings on his book called Noise, have a big resistance to use modern medicine. Even though it has already been shown, it's not new, the work of Daniel Kahneman is based on a very relatively good job. There were a researcher in which he showed he was a medical doctor, but a medical doctor that was very inclined to statistics. He was surprised that in a huge amount of cases, and he reported in his book that at the time was not well accepted, but today the book is quite well accepted. He showed that they call the clinical judgment versus the mechanical judgment. The clinical judgment is a medical doctor judgment. The mechanical judgment is a machine learning or regression or statistics. Is a mathematical judgment. So he showed in his book, which is not new, the book was not well accepted, but now the book is respected. The preface, he showed how he was attacked. On the new version, he did a preface, and he showed how he was attacked, in some cases very violently attacked by his position. So his position that he showed that mechanical judgment can replace human in a considerable amount of situations. People didn't believe that. People said that's not possible. But Daniel Kahneman bring that back again. So trust the metalhead. There is a live of Alexei Kolotsky that he said, and I also agree with him, that I trust much more artificial than I trust medical doctors in some situations. So trust the metalhead. That's the message of Dr. House, which I think is a very good message for everyone, especially for someone that is working in medical biology. So the summary is, even though we may think we know what is next, AI may change everything in medicine. So AI may be here to stay. AI is here. Even though people are still very resistant, it's not a matter anymore about, today it's not a matter anymore about limitation. It's a matter of acceptance. It's a matter of changing our mentality, accept that the artificial intelligence may be, as I like to say, I like to call it computational thinking. In my book, I call it computational thinking because as Daniel Kahneman, he showed in his book, even simple model can make a very good job to replace some work that medical doctors are able to do. So the diagnosis may be the easiest to automate because diagnosis is all about finding pattern. It's all about connecting a kind of symptom with a kind of disease. It's better finding. So it's what artificial can do the best. It can be much faster, can integrate, can make data mining. So I think a diagnosis can be the easiest way to replace, which is the case of Dr. House. Dr. House is a diagnosed guy. He make diagnose. So AI is cheaper, less error-prone, it's faster, and best of all, you can have all the logo, all the information, all the mistake. If you see Dr. House, he keep making mistake. He make a diagnosis, then he make a treatment, then he comes back again, then he makes another guess until he finds a solution. AI can do that easily, in my opinion, much faster, much better. So integration power may be the strongest point of AI. Integration means that is able to connect several cases simultaneously. If you have a centered database, even if you don't have a centered database, there are some cases which artificial intelligence is able to mine the internet, looking for solutions, looking for, in general, they go to Wikipedia to find solution to question. You ask a question, the machine learning is able to look for the solution, but they use Wikipedia in real time. I think that's a very powerful trait, very powerful feature of artificial intelligence. So guys, thanks a lot for your attention. You can find me here. We have an official website. I have been trying to curate. I have an email, which is another project of mine, but I have tried to integrate all the project on the same project. So let me know your thoughts. You can let me know by mail. You can let me know by comments. I'm always glad. I have a Twitter account. I have a LinkedIn account. I have a Facebook group. I have a WhatsApp group. So, and all about this project. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know. Please let me know if you want to participate in any of them. I'm going to leave some of them in the description. I guess that's all. So that's all, guys. I'm very glad to close this live here. So as always, you can let me know your thoughts. I'm also here, and that was awesome time having you around.